Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Amudu Jean Pierre, and this podcast is talking about refugee and forced migration.
Last time when we were here, we were talking about anthropology of forced migration. Here we learned about the effects of displacement and forced migration on culture, language. So we learned about the process of displacement. We saw migration patterns, how people suffer on the way, and we understood a lot of things of what should be changed to facilitate migration to be a smooth one and less harmful. Today we are going to talk about international relations and the politics of forced migration.
Together with me are the young people of Rendezvous Youth Group, which is a Refugee Law Project support group here in Kampala, Uganda.
As we talk about forced migration, we remember that this is when people are forced to leave their places of origin without willing. And this forced migration, we say that some people can be internally displaced, or they can go even beyond the borders of their countries of origin, right? And those who stay within the borders, they are called IDPs, and those ones who go beyond are called refugees or asylum seekers when they have not yet gotten documents. But also, let's not forget, some of them don't even get to the step of being registered, so they remain maybe sometimes illegal migrants, the sans-papiers. Some of them even don't have any nationality because of one reason or another, especially related to the settings or the laws of where they are, the policies. Now, when we talk about forced displacement, or politics of forced migration, I think we will also have a few things to look into that, and I want us to be so keen because we not to discuss everything as it is, but I'll just give a highlight, then we can have also our contributions, and we need to know first what is politics. And politics, according to some people, they say it is the art of managing people. Other people will say it's a way of managing a city or managing a country or a nation. And in the same way, we will want to know, why do we think politics is necessary when we are talking about forced migration? Or do they have any relationship?
Thank you. Like you've said, politics is management. And for anything that mass, because in most cases, refugees and their settlement is mass. So there it would require some management. And in most cases, management is international, national, and some other levels within maybe a country. So when before maybe they get into a certain country, so they are accorded a certain status for international recognition. That is already management. They are accorded the refugee status. That is international management now. When they get into a country, there is documentation. There is screening, there is interviewing. So that is all management, all right? And how they are managed, that is now the politics now. We also need to interest ourselves in how they are managed.
And also for me, the relation between politics and refugees, most of the times, for someone to be a refugee, there should be a political reason, except when there is natural calamity. But when you see other reasons, other causes, there should be political cause for you to be a refugee. And also, even where you are going to be governed in one way or another, which still comes back to politics. And even even the time that you are going to be with that status, we also still comes back to the politics, either for that asylum country or your origin country. You can't try to take away forced migration to politics. It's like being the youth of today. No, me, I hate politics. Me, I hate politics. Whether you hate it or not, it's there. It's part of you. It's part of your life. No, for me, I can't go in those stuff of politics. I would do business. Business which is after, like, which is following which rules. The taxi, the what. Everything, it's all about politics. For me, I can't do politics. I go in entertainment. Come on. Entertainment, you still want your idea to be registered. It will be registered according to which law? You get. You still want infrastructures. You still want A, B, C, D. So you can't differentiate politics to anything of this world.
Someone defined politics as in politics, the politicians or the governors are the ones who decide what should go where, or who should have what, or who should be who should have what. As we have seen in many experiences, many instances, we have seen people being appointed in some positions, as we have seen in government, and then there are people whom we think they should be able to take up those jobs. But to hear, even when you bring them to account, they're telling you, I signed this document without reading. And someone who should be at that position should be able to read. And that's why they are there. They should be able to scrutinize. You hear someone is being given a position where they want someone with a master's degree, and then even their diploma they claim to have, it cannot be shown. So all that is politics. But now, when you want to contradict it, when you want that to stop, and you're using a song, will that song be played on any radio station or any TV station? The answer is a no, right? So who decides that that song should not be played? It's a politician, right? So that is politics. Now, how would you be an artist without being interested in politics? In Uganda, we have had the case of the POMA, Public Order Management Act, which has come to curtail some rights that are enshrined in the Uganda Constitution in Chapter 4 on freedom of assembly. Now you find like now, even having a concert, there are people who cannot have concerts because they must get authorizations from someone, and that is what we are calling politics. So if this person cannot survive, they cannot do their work, do you think they will survive in that country? They may end up even fleeing. We have seen people being jailed. Let's say, like in Rwanda, we have had a case of Simon Bikindi. Simon Bikindi was condemned for his songs, which they said that they were promoting genocide. So if it is true, then it was political. His art was political. And if it was false, then politicians decided to criminalize his songs. So even it is art, still it is the same. We know many countries have used art to liberate the country by using cartoons. We have seen Spire uses cartoons to awaken people. Dr. Spire, the Ugandan scholar. And then we have people like, we have many people who have sung songs, like Bobby Wine sang Tugambire ku Jennifer, when many people are being chased away from Kampala, and they had to talk to Jennifer Musisi, the director of KCCA, through a song. So we cannot say like, I will not do politics, I will do this, and yet politics is the way to go. So now, I want to ask also, how do nation states relate with refugees?
Before I answer that, we also need to understand that politics goes beyond having to go through an election. Most people think that a politician is the one who has been elected, or a person who is maybe, let's say, in government. But even people like you've just stated in media, someone who is whose interest does not align with yours, okay? And they see maybe you are maybe stepping on their opportunity, okay? So they may stop you from moving on with your motive, okay, for their own interest. I think it's management of an interest. It goes beyond having to be elected. It goes beyond being appointed into a political office, okay? You can practice politics from civil society, all right? You can practice politics in the media fraternity. You can practice politics You can practice politics in a church, okay, in a mosque. Getting back to the question you asked, there is no way we can detach a country from refugees, because in most cases when refugees cross to another country, most of them never lose citizenship of their original country. They are citizens of that original country, but then they are residing in another country, okay, as refugees seeking for, in most cases, peace. But just in case stability is realized in their country, they can always move back. So they never lose their citizenship, only if they want to do so. They can go and probably apply for dual citizenship, or maybe when they become stateless, okay, and then apply for some other citizenship. So having to understand nations, okay, nations that are origins of refugees, we need to also understand where are they from. How do countries that host their refugees coordinate with them, okay? Because it is very hard for a country to host your refugees when you don't have that international cohesion, okay? Yes, it is you in most cases you are either separated by only a border, okay? It's out of very few instances. I remember in Uganda, I think it was last year, Uganda hosted refugees from American refugees from, was it Afghanistan? Yes, from Afghanistan. They were American refugees. Were they American refugees? Or by the United States. So you must have in most. So why was there that application to really have refugees? One, Uganda is known for being a refugee hosting country, okay? Secondly, Uganda has that international cohesion with Americans. So it was very easy to strike that deal to have refugees come to Uganda. But from experiences that have been shared by members on this panel, okay, who have said that in Kenya, for instance, they never wish to be refugees in Kenya. Why? Because of the refugee status situation, that they are placed in a camp, which is quite different from refugees in Uganda.
Which is now politics. It takes us back to politics.
Which is again politics.
Yeah,
okay?
the policies they have made on how to make refugees.
Yes.
So it can decide if someone will flee
to
their
country
or
not. In Kenya, they have these camps that have too much restriction. Okay, unlike in Uganda. Why we host very many refugees in Uganda is because there is that free association. Okay. A refugee is more like a national, okay? There are urban refugees that reside in urban areas. There are also those that are in settlements that are different from camps, okay? The restriction in a camp is different from the restriction of a settlement. So that is the politics.
But is it true that if you don't have good relationship with, if Uganda doesn't have good relationship with Sudan, it cannot receive refugees from Sudan?
We have realized that Uganda has had that tension, international tension between herself and Rwanda. So, and I've also for about 3 years, since 2019, the border has been closed. Up to about recently, I think last year.
But that closure of the border was them not to trade, but they were not expulsing refugees.
Anyways, I don't want to assume like I know what exactly happens, because I'm very certain it is now political, okay, between now states, government.
Yes, that's what I want to ask. Is it true that when two countries are not in good terms, they cannot accept refugees from that country?
I think yes. Because
someone is saying that's when they accept them.
First hear me out. Uganda has been hosting some refugees of Rwanda from the genocide time, okay? And up to now...
Actually, before genocide.
Okay.
1959, yeah.
So
before independence.
up to now, okay, Uganda is still holding, it is still strongly holding on to some refugees. Why? Yet the Rwandan government is very confident about having their refugees repatriated, because right now there is stability. They feel there is stability, but the refugees that are in Uganda,
that is under the UN convention. When it talks about protection, there is a law which talks about non-refoulement.
Okay.
Non-refoulement, that means if someone doesn't feel safe to go, you cannot force them to go.
Okay.
So what can be done, it is voluntary repatriation. And we have had very many people who have come from Uganda, who have gone back to Rwanda, even from Congo to Rwanda, from Tanzania to Rwanda. So Rwanda has repatriated very many people. But those ones who refused, it's not that Uganda held onto them, but it's because they were not feeling free to go, and because Rwanda also follows the non-refoulement principle, it cannot chase them away.
So of course with that brief background, right, you can tell that some refugees, now I'm just thinking if at all there is an instability in Uganda, okay, with that kind of tension, that we already have your refugees in our country who are saying that it is not yet stable. Your country is not yet stable, and we have a national falling out in Uganda. Can they easily run to Rwanda? Yet there are other countries. Okay. Now I'm just thinking.
Shalom said yes, that's when they take them. Let's listen to him. Why he said that's when they will take them actually.
Let me use the same example that you're using for Rwanda. When you go back in the history, they will tell you that always Rwanda, the two governments of Rwanda and Uganda, they always have those kind of conflicts because of refugees. Not only these regimes which are on power now, even before. So that's their history. But when they have that good relationship, because today there are conflicts, another day they are in honeymoon. You remember there are some reports which were alleging Uganda to forcefully return or give Rwanda their citizens who were refugees in Uganda, allegedly. You get that only happened when Uganda and Rwanda were in good relationship. The same reports happened to Burundi and Tanzania, whereby we know that Tanzania is very good friend of Burundi, whereby the Tanzanian government gave forcefully with no willing of refugees from Burundi, and then they gave them to their nation. So that is something which always happens. But actually when they are in conflict, that's when they say, we don't have anything to talk with you. Actually, one of the reasons why they get into conflicts is because they say, for you are keeping the people who were threatening security of my country. Bring me those criminals. I deal with them. You know, that's what happened between Rwanda and Uganda, and that's what happened to Congo and Uganda and Rwanda, when they are like, you guys are hosting people who were in M23. Give me those people. You get it will only be facilitated when there are those conflicts.
That again falls to politics. You get, so the policies that are in place can decide whether refugees will be safe or not. So if these people are in good terms, they can compromise. They can break the rules, and when they break the rules, now refugees are in jeopardy. So a refugee is safer in the enemy country than in a friendly country, and this happened even in Syria. When they fell out with Assad, these people went to form the liberation movement. They went to a country which was not in good terms with Syria. That's a national relation. The relationship between states can have an impact on the refugees. So many people may want either to flee very far from their country of origin, or to go to a neighboring country which is not in good terms with their country, because they feel at least there they will be safe. One thing you said, I got it, is that when people are Ugandan and they feel like they have a problem with Rwanda, they cannot easily flee to Rwanda when there is when they have a problem here. Actually, they will try to go to maybe to Tanzania because they have no problem with Tanzania.
So just for clarity purposes, that there is really tension, okay? An example of this vice chancellor of Victoria University, he's not a refugee, okay? He holds dual citizenship. He's Rwandese. No, he's a Canadian. He's Ugandan and Canadian, okay? Rwandese by origin, but Ugandan by birth, then Canadian by naturalization. So he was, I remember sometime he was incarcerated for just having Rwandan ties.
I understand that. It is true that Salongo, being a Ugandan, fleeing to Sudan, when they have a conflict with Sudan, the Sudanese government may fear that maybe Salongo has come to spy, to work on the account of Uganda, but masquerading to be a refugee. So it can cause also many things, many limitations, like my phones will be tracked, my business will not be allowed to just move as I want, because there are suspicions. So it is true. We don't disagree for sure. There are many angles.
Okay. Then how do we use political science? I think
to change, to make a difference in the refugee management.
I think every country, now it's called the country's international policy, okay? How does the country, through which means does it use to enhance its international relationships with its neighbors and other allies? I think Uganda has had that policy that through hosting refugees, okay, it can create that international cohesion, okay? Maybe with another country, they have another international policy that maybe giving out a certain percentage of their country can help with their international relations. But Uganda is particular about hosting refugees and how it can affect their international relations. Because in Uganda it has been informally debated that the NRM government hosting refugees is a way it's using to hold on to power, because it opens its humanitarianship, okay, to aid from these international organizations. I think that other countries should follow suit. Trust me, it has worked. The NRM government has, in a way, benefited off hosting refugees. Humanitarians and other international organizations are going to always have their refugees, the refugees that they take responsibility of high priority, just in case there is an imminent political instability. They are going to make sure that they prevent it as long as the peace of their refugees is not threatened. Thus, in a way, keeping political stability of a country and maybe keeping some people in power, but other countries, I think, should follow suit. It has really worked. That is a way Uganda has enhanced its international relations with some countries like DRC, okay? Of which DRC, they've had some falling outs with Uganda.
Okay, what you have said that Uganda uses the excuse of refugees hosting to gain legitimacy to the international community and also to keep themselves in power. I know, like most of the issues, you say refugees are as a result of a failed state or weak state. When the government fails to protect people, most of the times that's why they run away. Or sometimes these are people who have been ousted by that government. Let's say like the M23 in 2013. They were ousted by the government and they ran to Uganda and Rwanda. Is there any consequence we can have by that? Or can you relate it to the 1994 when Rwanda fled to Congo, and up to now Rwanda tries to follow them? Sometimes they have agreement, they go there and fight. Now we have Uganda trying to look for ADF for I think the third time now.
So of course Uganda is a very good humanitarian country because of some reasons which they know that I don't know. But my point is, you can't, someone is a refugee temporary. Well, it will still come back to the other question which you once asked yourself, like for how long? If we say temporary, but it's for how long? How temporary is it? For this person whom we say, okay, we are hosting a visitor here, after some little moment, he's going to go back to his country. For this person to come and have a say in our political arena, I think it's unfair. That's one. Secondly, they are minority in each and every, except here Uganda, where they have a quite big number. When you see it, 1.5, 1.6, leave the countries, deal with permanent issues with their permanent people who are going, this is their country. You get? Because even if you are saying, you are telling I'm here as a refugee, but I still love my country. You get? What I care most, it's my country more than here. To start trying to get benefits like a citizen of here, and yet I also have a backup home. It's being unfair to...
Do you think refugees should not have a say when it comes to that?
They should have a say, but not as citizens. That's my point.
So what is the limit?
UN should be more involved than the hosting country. The initiative, the policies that are coming in the country, you shouldn't put... I mean, it's going to be so much caveat to put always refugees who are supposed to live at certain moment, which we don't even know. You get? And yet these countries of ours are really suffering. You get? Even to satisfy their own citizens, it's a problem. Now you're telling me like the foreigners, in actual sense they are foreigners. Yeah, they are. They are not citizens of that country. Yes, they are human beings, but my point is, a refugee, there is no different... Okay, I'm sorry, of course there is there, but there is no huge difference between a refugee and a tourist who is going to stay in that country for 2 days, because you are saying even this refugee, after small time, is going to go back home.
But a tourist has a choice to stay where he came from, but a refugee has no choice to stay where he came from.
I get that's the small difference which I said is there. But because the policies of the country, they are always for long-term solution of their population.
Refugees shouldn't have a say in politics, like where they are hosting them. Because first of all, you already have your own problems. You flee from there because of your own problems, and then you want to put yourself in other people's stuff. So concentrate on your life, what you're supposed to be doing, like what is supposed to be going on in your life. You first of all have unfinished business from where you're running from, and then you want to put yourself in another trouble.
Is it true that that is trouble when you're trying to lobby so that you can have a better life? You have been brought in a country, and you want to go back to your other country, and someone here, this government is doing things that are making things hard the other side. Will you keep quiet, or it is putting you in trouble when you tell them not to stop doing that?
For me, I think refugees should have a say in politics, depending on how long they've been in that country. Because let's say, for example, if there is a refugee who spends more than 15 years, let's say in Uganda, and you know how things work, you know how the politics is going. If you have that knowledge of being in politics,
you see these things of politics, no matter how much you put your voices, oh, let's do this, let's do that, it won't end. Why? Because there's already someone above there monitoring everything. So whatsoever that you speak here, you're just wasting your time speaking until that person on top decides that, okay, it's going to end, it will end. Because you'll be there, you'll speak, you do your stuff, let me go to politics, let me raise my voice, let me do this. It won't stop. Let me give an example of our country. You see, someone will always fight you once you have something that is a treasure to you. If you don't have anything that is attracting that person won't fight you. That's why you see Congo. Congo has a lot of resources. But look at us, the way we are just meandering in other countries, you see. So there is already a person above there who is monitoring Congo, Uganda, Africa, like many, many countries. So you're a refugee, you want to put your word. You're just putting your life at stake, because no matter how you raise your voice, this and that, nothing is going to change. How many people have spoken? Okay, yeah, maybe there might have been a change, but not really a change. So you speaking out politics, nothing is going to happen. You just see them, you'll see them like they'll get something, they just cover to show you that, yeah, we've done something, but inside that they have not done anything. So these things here, no matter how much you raise your voice, you're just putting your life at stake.
Yes, I understand your cause. You may have watched so much and you saw really there was no change. But you have said, you have acknowledged there was a little change that was made. Don't you think if you cause that change and me and the two, we are how many here? We are 6 people, 7 people here. If each of us can do something at least in 3 generations to come, maybe something visible, tangible will have been done maybe.
Museveni is in power for 36, 7 years. He has been a refugee. Kagame is in power for 20-something years. He has been a refugee. How are you telling me that you can't be something? Even the Christ that you believe in.
You see all those people, they know what they do behind. They know where they go. They know whom they speak to. And whom they speak to, like, you know, like the conditions whereby you agree with. So those things, if you're ready to put your head there, these people, they are something else. Everything you're seeing here is just formality.
As a refugee, can't you know also how to go there and do now the right things?
To do the right
where
thing.
They go.
Salongo, trust me, in this world, the right thing, the percentage is very low. Everything done here in this world is just formality.
Don't you think you're giving up too fast now? Because
I'm not giving up. I'm saying the fact, because we cannot be here seated and we say, okay, yeah, I think this, and that. I'm saying what I'm seeing and what I've seen, like what I'm continuing to see.
So refugees should not participate in the politics, because what they will say will not matter. So shouldn't citizens also participate in politics in their countries?
Hey, you're a citizen. Participate. It's okay.
Will something be done?
Huh?
Will something be done?
If that's your luck, because maybe if something is to be done, that's because maybe they're just trying to cover up something. Okay, many people have said so. Let us cover up and do something. You know, these people.
Don't you want also to add on that voice so that they can cover up at least everything? Maybe if they put a bigger blanket.
Up, you put a blanket, but inside there is still something.
When you put a blanket, a wet blanket on fire, because there is no more penetration of oxygen, that fire ends up extinguishing. Don't you think maybe we should put more voices so that that fire is covered with match blankets and then it just extinguishes there and we don't see the fire anymore?
It can. By trust me, it's not a 1-year thing or 2-year things. It needs to be carrying on, and by that process, many lives are going to be lost. So
I hear you have said it's not a one-day thing. So I think now we are with you on a journey of going now steps until those many years. You're still a young person. By the time you leave the earth at 90 years, you'll have done a lot.
Even won't find me. They already chop my head though.
They will not chop your head though, because even we still have our heados.
It's not by someone's choice to be a refugee. I can flee from my country because of, let's say, there is war, or maybe there is a lot of conflict. We are fighting this and this. I flee for my life. But as I'm sitting here, I'll be like, okay, in my country, there's this and this. If I get a chance, I will do this and this and come and help my country. Yes, I can, like, if you know you have people that you can trust and you can work with, everything is possible.
I think refugees should participate in politics for which country they hold citizenship for. You realize that political office in Uganda is bread. So really, for as long as you are not a citizen of my country, please, it is just a simple courtesy. Yeah? But I think there should be preparations for refugees to vote, okay, for their home countries, even in Uganda.
Let me ask you, do you know that it's by policies that a refugee can be registered or not? It's a policy.
It is by policy.
Do you know that that's already politics?
Oh, yes.
In Kampala, there is no registration of Congolese and South Sudanese asylum seekers. They are not being registered in Kampala, only other nationalities. And I, as a refugee, have been contradicting that for so long now. It is now since 2017, and I've been talking about it. And you are telling me that I have no right to talk against it because it's their bread. And then I'm not a citizen. Yet it is affecting me and my people.
It is good that you're speaking something, okay? So let's wait on them for their reaction, okay? We are going to wait.
The reaction has been there always, and it has been negative.
Keeping quiet.
And I'm continuing. Let me give another example. Zimbabwe, when it was still under the government of Robert Mugabe, many refugees fled from there and they went to South Africa. They fled authoritarian regime, right? Now in South Africa, they understood that China was bringing guns weapons to Zimbabwe. And then they demonstrated, they refused the government of South Africa to allow the shipment to go to Zimbabwe. And it was stopped. Like that, they said these weapons are going to terrorize our people. And we are not going to allow such a dictatorship to continue being weaponized. They were in a different country, and they had to be to be allowed, and the shipment was not taken.
Salongo.
But that is the case. They are in South Africa.
In freedom of speech.
They were in South Africa.
Yes.
And they were refusing the government of South Africa to do what it has been doing for all that long, because their relationship between Zimbabwe and South Africa, it was now the politics of South Africa. You understand?
But you see,
when I'm talking about the refugees being registered in Kampala, that is the politics of Uganda, not of Congo, right?
Trust me.
But I'm the one as a refugee being affected.
No, when refugees, well, let's say a group of very brilliant refugees just stood up and let's say petitioned, okay, the OPM. When they get to the OPM, will they refuse to be heard? For as long as a refugee is in a particular country, okay, it is upon them that they stay in that country. They can either go back to their home country or they can be repatriated to a resettlement country, okay? Now, why should you cause instability in a country that has refuged you, okay? Yet, after 1 year, you're going to go to where? To England, okay?
What is causing instability?
So whenever now for instance
Public Order Management Act.
I think
whenever you try to assemble, they say you are inciting violence and you get
a refugee,
holding an illegal public assembly.
As a refugee, you know in Africa, an instability can come from something very small, something as small as maybe a petition, something as small as a non-citizen, okay, engaging in politics, okay. Just imagine if at all you will have to leave and go for another, because you people feed off our peace, isn't it? So you must make sure that in that country that has hosted you maintains its peace up to when you decide to leave, isn't it? You should make sure that they maintain their peace, because you're feeding off it. You're benefiting off it.
Why do you go with the authoritarian regime's thinking? Because by the time you tell me that just saying this is not right, this should be, you immediately call it causing insecurity or disturbing peace.
All I've said is... No,
you listen to it, right?
All I've said is have a say. Have a say, okay? Petition all you want. That is what she said. That you're going to make all efforts, but maybe the reaction is going to be deadly, maybe, okay? Or it's not going to be the most desirable reaction.
Why should the reaction be deadly?
Now, what now?
Or a peaceful petition?
So
I've just requested, please allow Congolese also to be registered in Kampala.
There is a reason as why that policy is like that. Have you understood why?
Yes, I have asked, and they have said it's because refugees from DRC and South Sudan, they should get prima facie. So they should be registered at the border, and I asked them, why can't you give them prima facie in Kampala?
I think that decision was taken because you will require immediate services, and through that border point is the best way that immediate service can be.
Why don't you give them the long service like others in Kampala, and don't give them an immediate one?
Our policy
do you know how many refugees?
Do
you know how many refugees are in Kampala? How many illegal migrants are in Kampala because of such?
So you know about them. Please take them to the relevant office.
I can show you emails I've shared with OPM about that. In even the conference when we were talking about forced migration, I've brought that so many times. And they have said they will attend to them, and they never attend to them.
They should go to the office that is at the border if they want documentation.
The Refugee Act of 2006, which was also supplemented in 2010, which allowed the refugees to be everywhere they want, is being violated. And some people forcing people to go to register at the border after going through violation. Someone has been raped. They have entered when they are going through treatment in Kampala, and you're telling them to go and they register near the point where they are being raped from. Does it make sense to you?
Okay, truth is...
when you tell them, board a bus, someone has come in a lorry of matoke, they didn't have transport. Now they're sleeping at church, you're telling them, no, go near where you were raped. Look for money, go where you were raped, near there, that's where our office is. to register you, and you don't want to register them here where they are, where they feel safe.
All I know is that
Do you know that that is a violation of human rights?
All I know is that a certain policy, if at all it's put in place, it is
Not a policy, it's just something that has come and they have made it a policy. It's not written anywhere.
So it's not official.
What was written is
So
that
it's not official. But we said politics is management. That is how that instance is managed. And that for the time being, that you can petition, you've tried to make efforts to.
You are hearing, right?
All I know is that before we get change, okay? Before they change that, please just go by that way. What she said was, in case refugees have certain efforts that are somewhat political, the consequences are dire, okay?
The effort is political. Why do you shoot me?
The politics you're talking about, is it concerning them, the refugees too, or it's the politics of that country that they are in?
The politics, is the way of managing. When I'm in Uganda, I benefit from Ugandan things. When there is no drug in hospital, do you think me I'll get medicine? When they are going to arrest people just every how they want, do you think me I'm safe in Uganda? So when I report such things, corruption, theft, arbitrary arrests, it's in Uganda. I'm participating already in politics of Uganda. When I'm called in a conference and I talk about the ill that I go through, it's not me alone. Even Ugandans are going through the same. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You understand?
Okay.
So I'm participating already. And someone is saying, should we participate or we shouldn't? Should we influence or not?
Okay.
Even here, even there.
Okay. I've got it now. So, for me, you should involve yourself in things that you know it's concerning you. But for things of that country, you just leave it aside. There are people who will handle it. Because for you being a refugee, you might go there and then you do some stuff like this, trying, because also, yeah, me too. And then you find yourself, you're just lost. But once it's the people of that country, that person will have backup of their countrymen. You get.
During COVID time, there is a gentleman who had been detained for 2 weeks in a police station. And that is against the law of Uganda. The 48-hour rule was broken. And had to argue with the police, and he was released. You are saying, I'm wrong, because that one was not a refugee. I would have waited for Ugandans who have failed for all those 2 weeks to remain there, and the person is in police custody after breaking that rule.
If you know that you can do something and something is going to be changed about it, it's fine, you go for it. But if you're there, you know that in your country, your country yourself, you were unable to do anything. You've come in another country, now you want to do something. What is that? But it depends. It also depends on cases. There's a case maybe whereby you're in Uganda, there's a case whereby you're good at it. Yes, you can handle it. But if you know you are not good at it, don't go for it. There are people who will go for it and will help.
So because Kagame and his people, they failed to do something in Rwanda, and they fought for Uganda to be liberated, they were very wrong. And you think they could liberate Rwanda without liberating Uganda? These people were refugees. Kagame grew up here as a refugee, President Kagame. And before they went to liberate Rwanda, they had to liberate Uganda. They fought all as soldiers. Many Rwandans. They fought. They fled Rwigema. They were in the army. After liberating Uganda, now they prepared to liberate Rwanda. When they went to liberate Rwanda, Banyamulenge participated in liberating Rwanda, and they were Congolese. They had done nothing in Congo. They were doing something in Rwanda. After finishing that, the Banyamulenge went also with the FDL and Uganda to liberate Congo. Now, you are saying you have lost the first child. Why do you try to get pregnant? Is it true? If you fail in one class, you should never go back to school.
You can. But my point here is, if you think by you going for it, you do something, yes, you go. But if you really think, don't go.
We don't try because we failed. But we failed because we didn't try. All successful people failed somewhere. If you want to try the first...
speaker.
No.
You're motivational speaker.
That is the reality. I've gone through it and I've lived it. When you fail today, it doesn't mean it is all. And even you, I know, you have fallen many times. But why didn't you stay on the ground until you rot? You die from there. But you stood up, you cleaned the dust, went home and bathed and continued to walk. Why didn't you fear again to stand up and say, if I stand up again, I will fall. So let me stay on the ground. Thomas Sankara did not keep quiet, saying, oh, Lumumba has been killed, so I will not speak so that I don't die. No. After them dying, something happened. Okay? So don't undermine what you have done. If you fail after doing 2 steps, you know now, how did I fail? Where did I fall? and then know how you can stand now for longer, right?
For me, Salongo, I want just to add something. Like for me, you're supposed to know your place. And to be a refugee is it's something happened. You don't ask for it, like it happened. So for me, when you're a refugee, you're supposed to be, I don't say you're supposed to be so quiet. You can see, but you're supposed to know your place, and you're supposed to know where you are. And yes, you're supposed to know your limits and what to do and what you can't do. Yes, you talk about something like, why you did this and it worked out, but others also, maybe they don't have that knowledge you have. Other people, maybe they can go on the wrong side and they arrest them. So for me, it's better you be calm, you be there, and you see what to do and what you can't do.
Can you participate in politics as a refugee?
For me, we can't.
You can't participate as a refugee in politics. You are supposed to keep quiet, and whatever they want to do on you, they do it, right?
As long as they don't kill you. For me, I'm okay with that.
Okay, for me, I think that I listen to many of them, and then there is this fear of being killed when you come out and you speak. But I think that even the country we are in can take action on something they don't know, and before knowing, and so that they can know that one, there will be that person who take courage and go out and speak. But when that person doesn't come out, how will the country know that refugees are facing this? Because they know generally, okay, we are doing this, we are giving food, we are giving that, but how will they know that there is somebody or someone or a group of people who are facing insecurity or other things without a person to come out and tell them that there is this issue happening? If you are allowed here in Uganda to be registered as a refugee, it means that there are those Burundians or those Congolese who came out and say, yeah, we also need security, and then they were able to register them. Because I do remember when I came here, many Rwandese were not allowed to receive status. They were registering them as Rwandese, as Burundian, as Banyamulenge, Congolese, I don't know. But so that a Rwandi also get that right to be registered as Rwandi refugee, it means that there is that person who came out and take courage to speak out for the Rwandi community. Even if you keep in your home and just sit there with that, how can I say, with that fear of, if I speak, they will kill me. How do you know that they may even come at your home and kill you without saying anything?
You flee a country which can kill you to go to a country which will give you safety. By the time just you say, if I talk, I will be killed, you are in a wrong country. You are in the same country where you left. Because even in the other country where you are, if you accepted to be raped and keep quiet, they tell you they are taking your land, you keep quiet, nothing would have happened to you, right? Because in our countries, much of people who get problems are those who refuse to do what they want them to do. When they tell you, okay, your sons, all of them are becoming soldiers. Yes, sir. You are becoming a wife to commander, so and so. Yes, sir. Will they kill you, Nelson? They will not. But it is when you oppose, that's when you can be killed. Now, if you come to Uganda and also you accept to be, as you refuse to be in Congo, then you did not flee. You are still in Congo in another name. But in Uganda, you should have that freedom, which you did not have the other side. No, they are saying you have freedom to expression. You are saying, no, I cannot speak because if I speak, they will kill me. And then you say again, you are in a safe country. The same country which is giving you rights, after giving them to you, and then it kills you over the same rights. You have a right to speak. That's what it says. When you read chapter 4 of the Uganda Constitution, it is the same. When you read the Refugee Act of 2006, when you go to 2010, it is giving you all those rights. You understand? Now you are fearing, because the camp commandant has told you, you are not leaving the camp. Yet you know you have right to go out. Because you go and tell them, or you tell an officer of UNHCR, this one has refused me to go out, he will get angry at you, he will kill you, so you keep quiet and stay where he has said. He has raped you and say, if I say it, he will kill me. And then you say you have fled. You are in the same bondage where you fled from.
Thank you so much, dear listener, to have paid attention to this podcast. My name is Amudu Jean Pierre, and I was your host. With me here were the young people of Rendezvous Youth Group, which is a Refugee Law Project support group here in Kampala, Uganda. Today, we discussed the politics of forced migration and the international relations. I think we have understood that the young people, the refugees, would like to be involved in political activities of their country of origin and also of the country of residence of asylum. However, these countries don't seem to be too democratic and giving all freedom to them to speak, hence provoking fears and forcing them to keep away. But who is going to provoke this change that we want to see? How are people going to flee from persecution and yet fear to denounce anything that is squeezing them? We are going to be with you again next time after 1 week break. My name is Amudu Jean Pierre, and I hope we keep again together next time.
Please follow us on Twitter at Rendezvous YG, and mine is at Amudu Salongo. We are also on YouTube as Rendezvous Youth Group. Mine is Amudu Jean Pierre. And our Facebook is Rendezvous Youth Group. Mine is Jean Pierre Amudu Salongo. So don't hesitate to follow us and to share with everyone else. This was a community engagement as I do my studies in refugee and forced migration. Thank you. Until we meet again next time. Ciao.